here. All right, you see Aliyah Boston, top of the key, right here, top of the key, right? Let's see what she doing. Hold on, we're gonna get that music out. All right, there we go. Aliyah Boston from 3, bang. Aliyah Boston from 3, bang. Oh yeah, she been working out. She's working.
Watch that reaction. That's pure excitement about something that could fundamentally change the Indiana Fever's offense. We're not talking about a minor adjustment here. We're talking about Aliyah Boston potentially adding a legitimate three-point shot to her arsenal. And if she can actually do this consistently, Caitlin Clark just got a whole lot more dangerous. The clip you just saw shows Boston working from the top of the key, knocking down threes in practice footage. Corner threes, wing threes, the kind of floor spacing that turns a good pick-and-roll duo into an unstoppable one. But here's what makes this significant. Boston attempted exactly 0 three-pointers during her rookie season in 2023. She took just 4 total threes in 2024. 4 in an entire season. Now she's out here in the offseason working on becoming a legitimate floor spacer. So the question becomes, is this real development or just off-season workout footage that won't translate to games?
Able to pick and pop from 3 with Caitlin Clark as the ball handler? It's unstoppable. This duo is unstoppable. If she can pick and pop and knock down 3, the same reason a lot of y'all like Doncic, okay? Because, hey, she can stretch the floor. If Aliyah Boston can start consistently stretching the floor from the three-point line, she's already a monster down low on the post. She's already a monster being the role man in P&R situation.
That comparison to Doncic and the stretch 5 dynamic is exactly right. Think about what happens when defenses try to blitz Caitlin Clark on ball screens. Right now, they can send 2 defenders at her because Boston's defender can sag into the paint. They know she's not shooting from out there. She's rolling to the rim or posting up. That's her game. But if Boston can consistently knock down the pick and pop 3, everything changes. You can't send 2 at Clark anymore. You can't have that big man hedging hard and recovering because now he's got to respect a legitimate three-point threat. The math becomes impossible for defenses. Boston shot 57% from the field in 2024, but that was almost entirely in the paint. She's a monster in the post, averaging 11.8 points and 8.9 rebounds per game. She made the All-Star team. She's already an elite player, but she's also reached a ceiling if she can't stretch the floor. The best defensive teams in the WNBA have figured out how to play the Clark-Boston pick and roll, send 2 at Clark, live with Boston as the roll man, rotate hard. Adding a three-point shot doesn't just make Boston better, it makes the entire offense unstoppable.
That means she could space the floor from the corners now. She don't have to sit in a dunker spot. She don't have to sit on the block in the lane. She could actually be a floor spacer. Yeah, Aliyah Boston putting that work in, man. Aliyah Boston is putting that work in, guys. This is what we need. This is going to unlock Caitlin Clark on a whole nother level. You come trying to blitz Caitlin Clark out of them ball screen actions if you want now. I dare you. I dare you to come do that. Come do that now and see what happened to you. Come do that and see what happened to you, man.
Corner threes change the geometry of the entire floor. Right now, when Boston's on the weak side, her defender camps in the paint. Help defense, rim protection, making life difficult for everyone trying to drive. That's standard basketball when you've got a non-shooter on the floor. But if Boston can knock down that corner 3 at even a 33% clip, suddenly her defender has to stay attached. The paint opens up. Caitlin Clark gets cleaner driving lanes. Kelsey Mitchell gets better looks coming off screens. The whole offense gets more space to operate. And here's the thing about corner 3s. They're the shortest three-point shot on the floor. Exactly 22 feet from the basket compared to 23.75 feet at the top of the key. It's the highest percentage three-point shot in basketball. If Boston's going to add a three-pointer to her game, the corner is the smartest place to start. The Fever ranked 8th in offensive rating last season at 101.3 points per 100 possessions. That's solid but not elite. They need to find ways to generate easier shots, especially in the playoffs when defenses tighten up. Boston spacing to the corner solves multiple problems at once.
When Cheryl Miller showed up yesterday, maybe she could talk some sense into Stephanie White, okay? Cheryl Miller was in the house. Cheryl was in the house, okay? Got a picture with her and KK. listen, man, it's always a beautiful sight when Cheryl Miller is around. Okay, that's a living legend right there. That's a living legend, man. I think with the addition of this three-point shot, Caitlin Clark is going to be completely unlocked, especially when they try to blitz her and all.
Now we get to the real concern, Stephanie White, because you can have all the talent development in the world, all the off-season work, all the new skills, and it doesn't matter if your coach won't utilize it properly. White took over as head coach in October 2024 after Christy Sides was fired. The Fever went 20-20 under Sides and lost in the first round of the playoffs. White came in with a reputation as a defensive-minded coach from her time with the Connecticut Sun, where she went 55-51 from 2022 to 2024. But here's the question nobody's answered yet. Will White actually build an offense that maximizes Caitlin Clark? Because the early signs from training camp aren't encouraging. She's talking about having Clark play off the ball more, having other players bring the ball up the court, getting Clark involved in the second or third action. That sounds great in theory. Rest your star, keep her fresh, don't wear her out bringing the ball up 94 feet every possession. But Clark led the entire WNBA in assists as a rookie with 8.4 per game. She had a 109.0 offensive rating with the ball in her hands. The Fever's offense was 12.3 points per 100 possessions better when Clark was on the floor. Taking the ball out of her hands to keep her fresh is like benching your best player to save them for important moments. The important moments are now. Every possession.
She can shoot that corner three. If she can consistently do it, it changes this offense. The lane should be wide open for Caitlin Clark to turn the corner and cook. It should be wide open for Kelsey Mitchell coming downhill. I'm telling you, it adds a whole nother layer to this offense. Now, there are plenty of concerns still to go around. Obviously, with head coach Stephanie White, we just don't trust her. We can't trust her. It is what it is. I got to see it to believe it. I don't believe you. You need more people. I don't believe you, Stephanie White. Now, this is courtesy of ESPN, where it says Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark aims to stay.
The Raven Johnson situation is particularly concerning. Indiana drafted Johnson 10th overall out of South Carolina in the 2025 WNBA draft. She's a defensive specialist who averaged 8.2 points, 5.2 assists, and 5.8 rebounds for the Gamecocks. Solid player, good defender, but here's what she's not. She's not Caitlin Clark. Johnson shot 37.9% from the field and 27.3% from three in her final college season. Those are not numbers that inspire confidence in her as a primary ball handler running an offense. Yet White is already talking about using Johnson to bring the ball up and initiate the offense while Clark plays off the ball. This is the same mistake coaches make with generational talents over and over again. They try to fit them into a system instead of building the system around them. Clark isn't just good with the ball in her hands, she's historically elite. She set the NCAA all-time scoring record with 3,951 points. She averaged 31.6 points per game as a senior at Iowa. She sees the floor differently than other players. You don't take the ball away from that player to give it to a rookie who shot 27% from three. That's not roster management, that's coaching malpractice. And the concerning part is that White has a track record of this. In Connecticut, she ran a slow, methodical offense that ranked 10th in pace in 2024. The Sun were effective because they had elite defense, but they weren't a high-powered offensive team. They scored 81.8 points per game, which ranked 7th in the league. The Fever don't need a slow, defensive-minded system. They need to run. They need to push pace. They need to put the ball in Caitlin Clark's hands and let her create.
Fresh by handling the ball less, okay? Here it said Caitlin Clark had a demand as she wrapped up her media day session on Wednesday inside a Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Indiana Fever star ordered the gaggle of media to crowd together so she could take a photo of them. She said, "You guys always take photos of me, so go over there and act like you like each other," Clark said, waving her hands to move the crowd, similarly to how she directs an offense on the court. And that was a pretty funny moment. Okay, here it says the two-time WNBA All-Star is clearly used to running the show, but she is prepared to give up a bit of control heading into the 2026 season by playing off the ball for stretches in order to give herself a bit of a rest. I think that's going to be an issue. I don't see her really being able to do that. I think she's saying it for now, but I don't think she's really gonna be able to do that. I think once things start going, she gonna want to get back in her groove and be with things start going wrong. She gonna want that ball and to start making things go right.
Now, Clark's talking about being open to playing off the ball, handling it less in the half court, focusing on transition where she's most dangerous. And look, she's saying the right things. She's being a good teammate. She's buying into the new coach's system. But here's what concerns me. Clark led the league in minutes played as a rookie at 35.2 per game. She played all 40 games. She was exhausted by the playoffs, dealing with multiple injuries that limited her to just 13 games in 2025 before she had to shut it down. The wear and tear was real. So the idea of managing her workload makes sense on paper. The problem is how they're planning to do it. Instead of reducing her minutes or giving her more rest between games, they're planning to reduce her ball handling responsibilities during the game. That's backward. Clark's not getting worn down because she's bringing the ball up the court. She's getting worn down because teams are physically mauling her every single game. She took more hard fouls than any player in the league. Defenders were grabbing her, holding her, bodying her on every possession. The referees let it happen because that's how you slow down a superstar in the WNBA. The solution isn't to take the ball out of her hands. The solution is better officiating, better roster construction to give her help, and smarter minute management. Play her 32 minutes instead of 35. Give her back-to-back games off during the regular season. Load manage strategically, but when she's on the floor, the ball should be in her hands. That's not debatable.
Keeping her energized during games. The 2024 Rookie of the Year has been the primary ball handler on her team since well before college. Having the ball in her hands has been a no-brainer considering she set the NCAA all-time career scoring record and finished number 3 in career assists. Then Clark led the WNBA in assists and three-point field goals made as a rookie. She said it's exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet versus pressure every single time, Clark said. So we certainly need to find somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and give me a little bit of a break, okay? Here it says the Fever have options. 3-time All-Star Kelsey Mitchell, who might be the fastest guard in the league, has taken that role before. The 3-time All-Star Aliyah Boston initiated offense for the team at times in 2025 as Indiana was ravaged by injuries. The organization drafted South Carolina point guard Raven Johnson with the number 10 pick, and Coach Stephanie White thinks Johnson could help in that role too. It said she can alleviate some pressure with Caitlin having to bring the ball up. White said of Johnson, look at the way the teams play her 94 feet all the time. Again, how do we find ways to rest her on the floor? It's having somebody else bring the ball up, initiate offense, and then get Caitlin into action in the second or third action or the second or third side. Listen, man, all this second and third action, second and third side, yeah, man, I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it, bro. I'm not trying to watch Caitlin Clark standing over there on the side while Raven Johnson is running the show and Kelsey Mitchell. Like, bro, I don't got time for that. We don't got time for that, bro. This sound good now, but when the bullets start flying, it's time for Caitlin Clark to get that ball in her hands and do what she do. Raven Johnson was quoted as saying, Caitlin Clark was helping me through all of the hard times. Johnson said, I asked her probably like 1,000 questions yesterday. Clark isn't trying to give up all control, but she is taking fewer reps early in training camp drills against her natural instinct, learning how to be effective without the ball and seeing how the offense runs when she gets the ball after initial movements is new for Clark, but it won't be a complete change. I'm the best transition player in the league. Clark said, that's where I thrive. Everyone knows that's my game. So getting the ball off a rebound in transition, that's probably when I'm going to be primary ball handler more than anything. So I think there's a lot of different things that can give us a lot of different looks and just make us harder to guard. All right. So she sounds like she's open to this idea for now. I don't think it's going to last long. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like.
Here's what makes this Aliyah Boston three-point development so critical in the context of everything else happening with this team. If Boston can actually shoot threes, it doesn't just make the offense better. It makes Stephanie White's questionable coaching decisions less damaging. Think about it this way. If White insists on having Raven Johnson bring the ball up and initiate the offense, that's going to create possessions where Clark is standing in the corner or on the wing waiting for the ball. Those are wasted possessions unless the spacing is perfect. But if Boston is also spacing to the three-point line, suddenly you've got two legitimate three-point threats on the floor with Clark. The defense can't just pack the paint and wait. Boston's shooting development could be the thing that saves this offense from White's system. That's not how it should work. The coach should be maximizing the talent, not the talent compensating for the coach. But that's the reality in Indiana right now. The other thing to consider is how this affects Boston's own development. She's 22 years old. She's entering her third season. This is the time when good players become great players. Adding a three-point shot to her arsenal doesn't just help the team this year. It extends her career. It makes her more valuable. It turns her into a modern big who can play in any system. Look at what happened with Brook Lopez in the NBA. He was a traditional back-to-the-basket center for the first 9 years of his career. Then he added a three-point shot. Suddenly, he's winning championships with the Milwaukee Bucks, spacing the floor for Giannis Antetokounmpo, playing a completely different role. He went from averaging 0.5 three-point attempts per game in 2016 to 5.2 attempts per game by 2019. Boston doesn't need to become a high-volume three-point shooter, she just needs to be credible enough that defenses have to respect it. 2 or 3 attempts per game at 35% would be enough to change everything. The question is whether she can actually do it in games. Practice footage is great, but game speed is different, the pressure is different, the fatigue is different. We've seen plenty of players who can shoot in practice but can't translate it to games. But Boston has shown she can develop her game. She added a mid-range jumper between her rookie year and her second season. She improved her free throw shooting from 73.7% to 79.8%. She's put in the work before. There's no reason to think she can't do it again. The real test comes in May when the season starts. That's when we'll find out if this is real or just off-season hype. That's when we'll see if Stephanie White actually uses Boston as a floor spacer, or if she keeps her in the traditional big role. That's when we'll see if the Fever can build an offense that maximizes both Clark and Boston. Because here's the thing, this team has championship potential. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent. Aliyah Boston is an all-star. Kelsey Mitchell can score 20 points any given night. They've got pieces. They've got talent. They've got a fan base that's more engaged than any team in the league. What they don't have is a proven coach who knows how to maximize that talent. Stephanie White has never won a championship as a head coach. She's never built an elite offense. She's never coached a player like Caitlin Clark. So everything comes down to whether she can adapt, whether she can build a system around her best player instead of forcing her best player into a system, whether she can recognize that Clark with the ball in her hands is the most dangerous offensive weapon in the WNBA. If White gets it right, if she uses Boston's shooting to create even more space for Clark, if she lets her stars be stars, this team can win a championship. The talent is there, the pieces fit. But if she insists on playing slow, running the offense through multiple initiators, taking the ball out of Clark's hands to keep her fresh, they're going to waste another year of Clark's prime. And in a league where championship windows are short, where injuries happen, where free agency can break up a core, you can't afford to waste years. So the question for Indiana Fever fans becomes, do you trust Stephanie White to get this right? Because Aliyah Boston is doing her part. She's putting in the work, she's developing her game, she's adding the skills that will make this team better. Now it's on the coach to actually use those skills, to build an offense that maximizes what Boston and Clark can do together. To recognize that when you have two all-stars who complement each other this well, you don't overthink it. You give them the ball and get out of the way. The 2026 season starts in 2 months. Training camp is already underway. The roster is set. The talent is there. The only question left is whether the coaching will match the talent level. And based on everything we've heard so far, based on White's track record, based on her comments about playing Clark off the ball, there's legitimate reason for concern. But maybe, just maybe, Boston's three-point shooting forces White's hand. Maybe it makes the offense so good that even questionable coaching decisions can't mess it up. Maybe the talent level is high enough to overcome the coaching. That's the hope. Because this Fever team, with a shooting Aliyah Boston and a fully unleashed Caitlin Clark, could be something special. They could be must-watch basketball. They could be championship contenders. Or they could be another talented team that underachieves because the coaching couldn't maximize the roster. We've seen it happen before in the WNBA. Great players, good rosters, mediocre results because the system didn't fit. So watch what happens when the games start. Watch whether Boston actually attempts threes. Watch whether White gives Clark the ball in transition like she promised. Watch whether this offense looks modern and dynamic or slow and predictable. Because the talent is there, the question is whether the coaching will be. What do you think? Can Stephanie White maximize this roster, or are the Fever wasting Caitlin Clark's prime with questionable coaching decisions? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more WNBA analysis that goes deeper than the surface level takes, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep the vision.